Hello and welcome back to the channel. So today we're bringing you a review, well, not so much a review, of first impressions of Sam's new Sabre.
I'm very excited about this. I've waited a long time.
A very long time. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the Gymnasium Sabre, Hilted Gymnasium Sabre from Black Fencer. And this is quite a new product. I think it was added, what, maybe middle of last year or so onto their website. And it fills that sort of niche of after the Napoleonic period British sabres. They do have a 3-bar, which we've got a review upcoming of. But this is kind of like mid to late Victorian period. It replicates the kind of sword that was actually being used in the military gymnasiums, hence the name Gymnasium Sabre, to practice swordsmanship with. So there are some differences between this and the types of sword that would actually have been used out on the battlefield. That being said, those differences are historical because this is modelled on a historical training sword. So that's something to take into consideration. If you want something that's maybe a little more period appropriate, then the 3-bar has some advantages but also some disadvantages, which we will go into later.
Yes, please watch the next video and all the other videos you see with us on there.
Absolutely.
So first impressions, getting this out of the box was really nice. So I did instantly squeal with joy because of the waiting time. But it was...
How long were you waiting for, Sam? Out of interest.
I was waiting for quite a while. I think it was ordered roughly kind of like in November, didn't arrive until kind of early February. But all I will say is it seems to be waiting for a sparring match, so I don't want to jinx it yet, but it seems to be extremely worth the wait because this feels like an excellent product. Getting out and swinging it around and stuff was fantastic. The feel feels great, so the balance is good. The weight distribution feels nice. I've used other Black Fencer Sabres and I feel at the moment, so of course I've not used this in sparring yet, and I will keep emphasising that.
That is the caveat to this video.
Yeah, is that but it feels lighter than others, and it feels kind of, it just feels a bit lighter. There's no other way to put it. It feels a bit lighter and a bit easier to control. So the balance seems to be better with that one.
Yeah, I think. Sorry to interrupt, Sam, but I think on the matter of weight, this does come in about the medium range. So yes. What they're calling, I think, the 1805 Officer's Sabre on their website, which is the single knuckle bow, quite curved Napoleonic sword, that's the lightest. That's about 700 or so grams, that is. This 3-bar sabre that I have, which there will be a review, I'll keep saying that as well, is
mainly to make sure we do it.
Is exactly. That's a promise now.
Yeah, it is.
That's about 1,000 grams. The basket hilt, which I also have, which there will be a review of, is about 1,200. This is about, what, 900 or so? 950. So, this sits about the medium range in terms of weights.
And it's fair to say, come back there, you probably can't see it in the camera there, but there is a slight curve, more of a curve than I was expecting in the blade. Not a huge curve that you can have, of course, on some sabres, but there is a slight curve there which feels nice. It feels kind of, with the moving of it, feels more of a choppier kind of cut-based sabre, more so than the thrust. It is worth saying that I have kind of like thrust this into the floor, into the wall, and it has got some flex to it, but I can safely assume that it's going to have the same kick to it with its thrust as other Black Fencer products do. So if you are using this before we've done the after sparring video, please make sure you spar with caution and you think of safety and definitely full gear. The other thing to say is with regards to the guard, it's really nice size. I'm thinking that I'm probably be using this with the Red Dragon sparring glove. And of course there are other gloves available. Just Red Dragon is personally the one that I use just for the first time, but I've got enough room to get that glove in there, just because I'm sensing that my fingers, I'm not used to having my fingers out at that much risk. I'm used to using the basket hilt from the Rawlings, I would worth to say, which has been a fantastic bit of equipment. So my fingers are now in danger, so I'm definitely going to be utilising more of the hanging guard, I think, to keep my hand out of the line of fire.
I have to say that is one of the things that surprised me when I'm only seeing this for the first time tonight when we film this video. but that's one of the things that surprised me, is actually how compact and small this guard actually is. It doesn't cover, if I just stick my hand in there, although that does look like it covers quite a lot of the hand actually in the video.
This is the problem with first impressions.
Yeah, but actually it's quite small, certainly compared to, I've got my steel saber is a Matt Easton version 1. And that covers a little bit more. It's a little bit wider down here. Now that's not necessarily a bad thing, and it's certainly within the historical range. But yeah, I would think this is definitely something you probably want to be using a heavier glove with. It's not that you couldn't use a lighter glove with it. You definitely could, but you know. It's more open than I thought it was going to be.
It's take your own risks really with that, and do kind of like what you feel is where you're safe, of course, with that. But I personally will be using a heavier glove, as Matt has said. The other thing to say about it is, personally, I think I've now owned quite a few Black Fencer products, and I think it just looks really nice. It's a very simple design, but it's quite beautiful in its own little way. That it's a simple elegance that it has to it, which is really nice. The negative we have mentioned a few times, made the odd little jokes, is the waiting time as well, because I haven't seen one of these before. This was bought merely because I've seen other sabres from the Black Fencer, and I wasn't particularly interested in those.
Yeah, Sam got this by process of elimination.
Yep.
So
I thought I'd give this a go, and so far I'm extremely pleased with it. But yeah, it has had a bit of a waiting time. We've not used it in action yet, so please remember this is a first reactions video, is the real thing to kind of take from this. And as soon as we have I've sparred with this, I'm sure there'll be a video with both of us using it, so you can get the opinion of two very different fencers with that. And
yeah, competent and incompetent. You can guess who's who.
Yeah. Now be careful. No, do not put that in the comments below. The only other thing, which is a point you brought up, Matt, really, wasn't it? About the grip cover. If I just hold it there, do you want to explain?
Yeah. So with later period Victorian era sabres, there's a tendency to keep the thumb up the back. So if I just thank you, Sam. To keep the thumb up the back in what is a lot of times referred to as the sabre grip. This is done to improve point control. All I was saying about this is that actually this is quite narrow up here, and I can see particularly in a bigger glove that your thumb would tend to slip off or cant slightly when using this in actual sparring. So it's not something that couldn't be remedied. You could certainly build that up with, you know, sort of tape and bits and pieces, and it's something I have done on other sabres, and it's not a problem. But certainly out of the box, that would be one of my concerns. Would be if you were trying to use this in, you know, like weight. Yeah, it is weight. Sorry, Weight or Hutton or someone like that. Some more late Victorian sources, then you might struggle with that thumb up the back grip. That's not necessarily a bad thing. And of course, just because this is a late Victorian sabre doesn't mean that that's what the system you'd have to use it for. Exactly. You could use Roworth or Angelo or any of the earlier sources. If you just wanted a sabre with a bit more protection to it, then that would be perfectly adequate for that. But yeah, certainly if you're planning to use a thumb up the back grip, you might want to look at maybe building that up. But again, that's something we don't really know at this point.
And that's I will make sure that I have a test of that, and I'm sure Matt will, when he uses it as well in sparring. We'll both kind of like see what it feels like to have the different grips and which feels more natural with this particular synthetic. But all I can say is I'm really excited to use it. I know Matt is, because I'm guaranteeing you right now he's playing with it because he's thinking of either stealing it or buying his own. But
why would you buy your own when you could just steal someone else's?
Maybe that will be what we spar for the next time. But please keep an eye out for the video.
No, people don't steal things in HEMA.
No, not at all, not at all.
That's a bitter story.
A very bitter story. Maybe for another time. But it's safe to say that we can't wait to use this in sparring, and as soon as we've got that, there'll be a video on the channel, and then of course there will be a review, and hopefully we won't be too badly broken after that review, and neither will this. But besides that, thank you very much for watching the video, and stay tuned for the sparring match and the later review of this product.
Absolutely. See you soon, folks.